everyone. Today I am going to show you how to make a lantern to celebrate the Chinese New Year. The end of the New Year celebrations ends with the Lantern Festival, and this is also known, the Chinese New Year is also known as the Spring Festival. So I have here for us some nature characters, some Chinese nature characters that we can add to our lantern to decorate it. Now to get started, we are going to be creating the border on the top and the bottom. So when you're doing that, you can use any kind of line, but you want to make sure you're a couple inches or a couple fingers, as I like to say, from the top and the bottom, because that is going to help us know where to stop cutting when we get to that step. So when you're doing this, your first line, I would make it about 2 fingers from the top, and you can decide what kind of line you want to use there. I'm going to do a zigzag this time. And then I like to make it the same on the top and the bottom. So I'm going to do a zigzag there on the bottom as well. And then I can add more lines to fill up these spaces at the top and the bottom. So you can see in this one, I did a loopy line, I did the dots, and then I did some vertical line kind of stripes. So for this one, I think I'm going to go and I'm going to add swirls. So I'm making a swirly line. I'm kind of tucking those swirls into the zigzags a little bit. And I'm going to do that same thing again on the bottom. And then I've got room, I think, for one more thing here. So I think for this part at the very bottom, I'm going to do a wavy line. And then we'll match it to the top. All right, so once you're done doing your border, then you are going to be adding some of the characters. I usually do at least 6. So when I do them, this sheet here that I'm using shows you what it is with a picture and a word, and then what the Chinese character is. So Chinese character is like a symbol that means a word, and each of these is a nature symbol. So this means wood, this means water, sun, rock, sand, rain, mountain, moon, flower, cloud, earth, and fire. So when I do these, there are step-by-step directions to show you. Typically this would be done with a brush and ink, so you'll notice that some of them are kind of angled a little bit, and that just happens to be the way it's done with the ink. Since we're using a marker, we could definitely pay attention to the direction of the line, but we might not have it go from kind of a wider to a more narrow line, because we can't really do that with the marker. So if I want to do the symbol for wood, the first step, and I like to use my finger and kind of keep it on the part that I'm on so I don't get mixed up here. So that first step is to make the line, the horizontal line across. The second step is to make the vertical line down. The third step, and the arrows show you the direction to go, so I wouldn't go from the downward up, I would go up to down. So starting at the top here, I'm going to kind of bring that out. So you have to kind of pay attention to the way the arrow goes as well. All right, so then that is the Chinese character for wood. And I can pick and choose the ones I want to add. So I'm going to add rain here. So that first line I make is across, the second line is down. The third line actually comes down and then goes around and hooks. The fourth comes straight down. The fifth and the sixth, those are angled. Those are diagonal. And then I can see that's what it looks like when it's done. So I'm going to add a few more in here. Let's do mountain. So down, down and across, down. All right, so there's mountain. I'm going to do cloud. So short line, long line, and kind of almost like a V-shaped line. And then the last one is down. All right, and then I think I've got room for 2 more here, so I'll do earth. So I'm actually going to start across and then go down and then across. And then for the last one, I'm going to do stone. So down, 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 across, and then across. And that finishes that one up. All right, so now that I have my Chinese characters, I am going to be folding my paper. So when I fold my paper, I'm actually going to turn it around, so I'm looking at the inside of the lantern right now. And then I'm going to take the bottom edge of the paper and I'm going to bring it up towards the top, and I try and get those corners matched up. And then once I have those corners matched up, then I can press it flat. It's really important that those corners match up. Now, when I'm cutting, I want my cuts to be about 2 fingers apart as well. So I like to actually use 2 fingers and pinch, and that becomes kind of my spacer to make sure my cuts don't get too close together. And then I line the scissors up next to my hand, and this is while the paper is folded. And I'm gonna cut slowly until I get to the border, and then I stop. I don't keep cutting all the way across. If I do that, then I'm gonna end up cutting part of my lantern off, and I don't wanna do that. So these are the slits that would let the light out from inside the lantern. So you gotta be very careful and make sure you stop when you get to the border. I'm gonna do this all the way across. And you notice I'm always moving my 2 fingers over, and that's keeping the same amount of space between cuts. So be very careful as you're cutting. Make sure you stop in time. And keep it folded the whole time you do your cutting. We don't wanna open it up. All right, this will be my last cut. Okay, now this next part you may need some help with. Someone at home may need to help you with the stapler. But basically you're gonna open up the paper, and I don't like to press it too flat because I like to keep that crease right there. Basically you're gonna bring the 2 ends together, and you can decide which way it should go as far as up. I don't want this on top because it'll cover those characters, so I'm gonna do that part on top. And then you're gonna have either yourself or someone help you with this part. You can hold it or they can hold it, and then you're gonna slide the stapler in and staple those ends together. Try your best to make sure it doesn't do something like this where the corners aren't kind of lined up. You want those edges to be lined up together. And then I'm gonna hold it and staple. Now the last part is the handle. So if you have a strip of paper, it can be the same color, it can be a different color. To put the handle on, again, you're gonna use the stapler. You don't wanna staple it to the outside though. You actually wanna kind of tuck it in, and then try and work your stapler in. This can be kind of hard, but let's see, and like that. And then same thing on the other side. I'm gonna hold it together, kind of get the stapler in as best I can, and then you have a way of hanging it up. So that is the Chinese lantern that you can make to celebrate the Chinese New Year. All right, I hope you have fun.